Welcome to Slight Coffee Shop. I'm Aeson Knight, and I'm sitting down with the founder of the Ascension Institute. How are you, darling?
I'm good. Thanks so much for having me.
You're very welcome. I love sitting down and talking about a lot of things we got into the pre-show about, and we'll dig into this one. Hello, Miss Brenda. Hope your coffee's hot and ready. Let's sit down and. So, what is the Ascension Institute?
The Ascension Institute essentially is a community and a place for people to receive one-on-one or group coaching on
Mhm.
ascension type sessions. And so anything that elevates your vibration, your frequency, your understanding of your life path, where you came
Mhm.
from, starseed origins, all of that
Mhm.
fun stuff. So it's a culmination of helping others in their own spiritual gifts as well as people looking for assistance in their own life
Yeah.
questions. Yeah.
So, how did you start out?
Ooh, I started out as a medium.
Ah,
So, yeah.
which type?
Uh spiritual channeling medium. I would see
There you go.
ancestors and,
Right,
people want to connect with their loved ones no longer in the physical world. That's how it all
right.
started. And
Ah,
so I just channeled messages. And
cool.
from there, though, my gifts started to expand a bit. I think
We do.
Spirit was like, you have more. You need to be doing more with your gifts. And unlike you, I was afraid of ever calling myself a psychic. I didn't want to be in charge of people's absolutes, and
Hmm.
which is very different than just channeling a message for somebody.
Right.
Um, so it just kind of branched out from there. I love to say that my roots are always with my medium clients. They still bring me so
Hmm.
much joy, but it's just kind of evolved from that space.
It's a different vibration. It
It
is.
is.
I can do mediumship, but it's not my first tool. My first tool is always tarot. I grab the tarot and go from there,
I love that.
and work for all on the clairs. So, with you and doing mediumship, what did you notice differently when you started working with the starseed energy?
So I used to get headaches and my whole body would vibrate differently when I would deliver messages for, people looking for a connection to somebody
Hmm.
that's no longer here. We would meet at a table,
Hmm.
and it was always like we would meet halfway. And the star seed messages are from where they are on their soul planet for wherever they're channeling and their higher density beings. And so it was this whole elevation of my clair senses in order to communicate, and they communicate
Hmm.
really quickly. And so it took a while. It was a culmination of ascension symptoms and not feeling great and not understanding why my body was not reacting well to the process. It was a whole thing. How about
Well,
you?
it's interesting for me. It's like looking at a chart and going, okay, this doesn't work here. You
Ah.
cannot be doing, this energy doesn't work in this plane. So what are we
Mm-hmm.
dealing with other than,
Mm-hmm.
is it starseed energy? Is it, leftover life chart energy, or,
Interesting.
cell memory? Um, and then, I get a lot of people that want to talk about past lives, which is
Right.
great when you can go, oh, okay, we're in France, we're, around the 1400s, you're making wine, you're, fighting in a battle. That works great. But when you're looking at it and going, I don't know where you are because I can't
Yep.
get a geolocation. I don't know why you're
Yes.
there because it doesn't look like it's anything here. And then you have to go into the more complexity of it. Of, am I seeing a past life, or am
Hmm.
I looking at a future life, or am
Yep.
I looking at a life that doesn't make sense? Because for me, a starseed life, and for those that don't know, like starseed life is a life on another planet, like, Lenormand, or, other, you know,
Serious
crafted.
systems, the A and B, Pleiades, all of that.
Yes, it's not earthly,
Hmm.
and it's not going to match an Earth frequency to where you can go, oh, you were in China. You decided you wanted to go there and learn how, work with the Taoists. So you went and hung out with Buddha for a couple hundred years.
Yeah.
No, it's
Something like
not
that.
that. It's like when you're looking at a book and someone has, and you gotten it from the library and it's one of the older books, like you're working with reference materials, and some Yahoo has decided to stick another, chapter in there
Yep.
from a book that doesn't belong. But the energy and the characters are the same. It's just not the right book for me. What
Hmm.
about with you? How do
That's
you
so
see
funny.
it?
I love your description. I think that's when my messages started to change. And oftentimes, like in Akashic readings, people would do kind of, oh, I can see me burning at the stake. I can see me, we're walking through their whole process. And then somebody's like, I see me and it looks like a jungle. And we're in deep meditation
Hmm.
and my client's saying, I see me and I don't actually recognize like the eyes on the person I'm talking to. Or
Hmm.
I'm surrounded by really geometric shapes,
Hmm.
and I'm like, that's not, we don't have that here. I don't know what you're looking. They're like, we're in a temple, but the light is so profound and there's sacred geometry coming down. I'm like, we can maybe say that looks like, a pyramid moment with energies coming in. But I would just let clients talk and it would turn into um,
Hmm.
obvious. we're not
Obvious
we're not
something
talking about
doesn't
stuff
work.
here. You're
Yeah,
describing, I don't know, Lisa Frank binders and kind of funny things that I've never heard of. So
right.
you described
Yeah,
it perfectly. It's a lot of
yeah.
all
It's a
right.
lot of, like this doesn't fit. Like, why'd you
Mm-hmm.
transfer into the school? You know,
Yeah.
like, sweetie, let's take you back to what school you were in. But do you think
Hmm.
your physical symptoms are more connected to the frequency raising in your mediumship? Because we know for a physical medium, if they're disturbed during seance or during
Yes.
trance,
Yes.
they have physical damage.
Yeah.
Like there's been mediums in England when they would raid the places that she had a freaking heart attack right there in front of them.
Oof. Oof. That's not freaky, but it is.
But it is,
I
it's
do.
scary as
I
hell.
mean, I think that's a whole conversation because people I think the whole movement right now is against, a whole ascension symptoms. We love to say,
Mhm.
well, we can't pinpoint something going on with us. We're like, oh, it's an ascension symptom. And I do believe on a lot of levels that it probably is for some people, light workers
Right,
especially. But
right.
I think, I mean, as far as it being my, mediumship, I have to say yes. I have to believe that, something must be connected
Right.
to I mean, anytime you connect your energy to anything else, a moment, a
Hmm.
space, a person,
Hmm.
whoever you're channeling for, it's inevitable, no matter how much you protect yourself as a channel, that you're going
Right,
to download, take on some of the physical etheric auric symptoms of whatever it is that you're bringing in.
right.
So, I
Oh,
mean,
definitely.
it's
You
it's
know,
inevitable that it could probably be both, I think. I don't
well, I
know.
think that, but no, because I've talked with other people that have worked with this and they've not gotten the physical symptoms. They've gotten, their
Interesting.
clock is off. Their days are like 38 to 39 hours a day in a day instead of the 24 that we get fit into. They'll have mood swings, that type of thing. They'll have
Right.
total taste change.
Yes.
How's
Yes.
that for you?
That's so funny you say that. Did you see me jump?
Uh huh.
Yes, I had a client a long time ago say, "I can taste colors." And I just kinda in my early readings, I didn't understand all
Right.
the clairsenses, right?
Hmm.
Until I went through this process, and all of a sudden, it was like I could taste people's experiences.
Hmm.
And it was the oddest sensation because sometimes you would taste things that aren't earthly. Sometimes
Uh
we can
huh.
pinpoint, oh, that tastes like smoke. Oh, that tastes like lead.
Right.
You
Right.
know, these were things that I was like, I don't even know what I'm experiencing. This is like a
Hmm.
completely different human sense than I'm
Right.
not eating lasagna. It's a weird, I'm eating something different. And so
Right.
it's I don't know. I can only. How about you?
I've seen everything, and then, when I say I've seen everything from a person that is an herbivore and they only eat vegetables one day, and like they get grossly sick with the idea of me having a blue steak, to they go through and they start working this ascension process, and you can't stop them from eating.
I always know
And it's
something's off
like,
with me
who
when I
are
want
you?
bacon. Yep.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
bacon for I'm 100% vegetarian until I wake up and I go, I need bacon. And I'm like, something's wrong with me today. Something's off.
right.
There's
Yep. There's
there's
a
something going on.
there's a disturbance within your energy field, something
100%.
to that. But and that's where people like change their names. They change their husbands when they really start ascending. It's like, I don't know who you are. Get the hell out of my life. And it's like, you were madly in love with them 6 months ago. That's why you just bought a $200,000 house and have been head over heels and never had an argument. And they're like, yeah, I'm done with that. I'm going to Arizona and I'm going to meditate in, the chasms there and raise the vibration of the planet. And it's like, check your spiritual self, because I think someone has lost or been took over by the planet.
Have you ever had a moment like that where you woke up one day and you were like, I am no longer me. I'm going to call myself Bob. I'm going to go off and I'm going to do these other things.
No,
No.
no, I've had that moment where it's like, I'm moving to Columbus, and I
Okay.
packed a suitcase and off we went and had a very lovely time there. Came back to West Virginia when it was time. Um, I've had that point where I woke up and said, I want my body back. Like, this is not my body. I don't know whose body this is, but it's in bad shape. Let's get it moving. So we're hitting the gym, we're doing the high protein, carb,
Yeah.
we're drinking flavored waters. Those are mine. Like, I haven't done any massive changes of like, I don't know who I am. It's more like, no, let's make me.
I love
And
that.
I think that happens as we grow spiritually,
Yeah.
as we work into our higher vibrations.
Yeah.
And, it's been very clearly shown to me by my husband that if you don't work out, I will kill you because you'll drive
So
everybody
you don't
crazy.
have a choice.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, so well, my curiosity is for me right now, clients feel a little
Uh-huh.
like when they are doing their ascension process, that sometimes
Hmm.
it's not even about them. They will be choosing their new things in life, but they'll come most disturbed, and you can speak this from a tarot perspective too, where they're so confused about what's falling away from them. All of a sudden, it's not
Hmm.
even their choices. It's just the job doesn't align anymore. These people that have always been in their life, they're having mismatched conversations and they're just like, I feel like
Hmm.
I'm on a different planet all by myself. And sometimes,
Yeah.
do you ever feel like as somebody like
Yeah.
ascends, it's natural that all of the things don't align
Oh,
and
yeah.
like kind of fall away?
Oh, yeah. To
I mean,
fall
how do
away.
you,
And that's when you have to look at them and go, well, what are you trying to accomplish? For me,
yeah,
I backtrack that, because when
yeah.
people are going through these massive changes, what I mean by
Hmm.
massive changes, like they're changing jobs, they're changing husbands, they're changing
Yeah.
relationships, they're going no contact with their mother just because, I don't know, she sneezed the wrong way. You have to get it back. For me, working as in the coaching view of it is, okay, take me back.
Okay.
What is causing,
Hmm.
where's your end goal? Why is it that you feel you need to go do this? Because that when someone else is asking for justification from you,
Right.
they tend to get anchors they've not thought of.
Yeah. I think, do you feel like as a medium that, or, well,
Hmm.
what would you like to
Yeah,
officially be called?
I'm a psychic. I'm the old fashioned just psychic.
Love it. Okay,
Yeah.
as a psychic,
Uh-huh.
you speak about these anchors. I think that's a really powerful comment.
Yeah.
What do you mean by you feel like they get anchored?
Because they're going, I'm losing my fucking mind.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay. I just quit a $200,000 a year job.
Yeah.
I've just told a boss that he's fucking full of it and I'm no longer taking his calls. I'm packing up and moving to West Virginia because I had a dream about a mountain. And this is a conversation I've had. And I'm like, there's more than one set of mountains in this country. Yes, but West Virginia is where it is. We're moving there. We want to look at here and here. And I'm like, well, if you move here, you could forget that you were in the 2000s. You may get as high as 1955. If you require internet for your evolution, move here. Those are things that I say. And and they are just like non-cynical. Like there's no debating these people. You have to go find why. And it's more
Right.
than a dream or their guide. It's like they have a desperate desire to get away from California. They have a desperate desire to be in a different geolocation because they don't feel right.
Right. Do
Yeah,
you support your clients in their endeavors in that space? Because I will
I
say,
do.
obviously.
I
Okay.
do. If you don't want to be with your husband because you don't even know who the moron is, leave him. If you want to change your life, do so. If you want to start doing readings, wonderful. I have tarot classes available. You have classes on mediumship. Like there's stuff out there. But I'm very much the type that's like, oh, you want to read? That's nice. Now sit down and get your foundations in place.
Yeah, I do. I do think that's important. I have this
Get your
whole motto.
lifestyle together.
Yeah, well, I think when people get excited about the ascension, because I mean,
Mhm.
let's call it what it is. You have this one moment
Right.
of when you're feeling great and you're like, ascension's amazing. And all the people that have been through it or going through it continuously are like, check in with me in a couple months.
Yeah.
You're gonna look haggard. But
Yeah.
I think anchoring in a foundation is so important. I think it kind of ties into
Mhm.
that idea of like know thyself. Like you have to have a know thyself moment. Like what are you really aiming for before you go
Right.
chasing the world, right?
Right. Or
So I mean that's
making major changes you can't take back.
yeah, yeah,
I think that that's really big, especially when you're going through the ascension. And let's say you're going through it very young. For me, like
yeah.
25, 26,
Hmm.
leaving college on a full Stern scholarship. That takes some kahunas, but it's like, give me an anchor point. I've told clients, sell me on it.
I love that. Okay.
Because they need, I can be their cheerleader, but they're going to be their own distractor.
Mm,
They're going to be their one that's going, they've packed everything into the U-Haul, they've slammed the door down, and they're going to have that moment of, oh my God, what did I just do?
yeah. Yeah.
And then there's going to be the panic on demand call to me going, I just sold my house. I just bought a house in a town I've never been to before. I just told my husband that we're getting a divorce. What the fuck have I done?
Yeah.
Why am I doing this? Why am I on autopilot? What shadow work do I need to do? And I'm like, you don't need to do any shadow work.
You did it. No. No.
Like, this isn't shadow work. This isn't past trauma. No. This is working with your ascension. And oh, look, it's 11/11. How interesting you chose today to set off the nuclear bomb of your life.
Yeah. Yeah. But at least you did it on, good
Yeah,
angel numbers.
good angel numbers, good, vibrational numbers. Very good, very good. Now, you need to finish out your mission.
Yeah. It's nice to
So
laugh a little bit about it, if I'm being
you
honest.
have to, because if you don't, and if you're really going through what I call very heavy
Yeah.
growth, that could be heavy ascension, that could be heavy working out cell memory. If you can't laugh, then we need to fix that,
Yeah.
because you're going to cry. So
Yeah. It's
you
the
need
only thing
to
that kind of
have
pulls
all the range of emotions.
it's the only thing that really pulls me out of tower moments is finding the humor in it,
Mhm.
gratitude, anything positive at that point.
Right. And, and moments of like, I wonder what is going to be going on with this baloney. Um, like, okay, spirit, you got me here.
I'm here.
What? I'm
Now what?
here.
I'm here.
Now what? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, are we beaming up? Do I get to just walk into the other side and permanently live there?
Yeah.
What are we doing today,
I
David?
showed up. I got in the car. I went. What are we
Mhm.
doing? Where are we at?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about something else you've got on here.
Okay, good.
You've got the mediumship, we've got the ascension work and starseed readings.
Mm-hmm.
What is energy therapy?
So I have my master's in clinical psychology. So I was
Okay.
working towards being a licensed marriage family therapist, a therapist in essence. And I was
Hmm.
having a really hard time wrapping my head around nothing against, talk therapy, but having somebody come in for 10 or 15 sessions to talk about one specific thing without addressing the energetic experience behind what they're talking about. So lots of people have,
Okay.
this one traumatic experience and they're hanging on to
Right.
it, and we got to like unwind the subconscious experience. Totally powerful, of course.
Hmm.
But while they're talking, I'm having this eye twitch moment because I'm going, oh, honey, but you have this whole energetic block from something that is completely unrelated, be it
Hmm.
past life trauma, be it this life trauma, be it
Right.
inner child healing, whatever. And so energy therapy was really birthed from people saying, I've seen me as an energy healer. What is going on with me while I'm talking? And I'm like, oof, everything's off. We need to clear your energy while you're talking about your experiences. And so it was a blend of both.
Hmm.
And that's honestly where it came from. It was just kind of taking my education and blending it with my gifts.
Right. Your gifts. And, we're seeing a lot of that right now.
Yeah.
There are some psychology programs that are teaching tarot. We've got Reiki starting. Reiki has been used in cancer patients forever. Now they're expanding out to anxiety and other areas because,
Mm-hmm.
oh wow, the MD world found out that what we do is a little more than placebo.
Yeah.
And it's really more interesting looking at blending talk therapy. That's why I saw the
Mm-hmm.
word therapy. I'm like, because in the psychic word, we don't say that. Even though, psychic, we don't go psychology.
Kind of psychology, yeah. It's kind of
Yeah.
this taboo. Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's very taboo. It's like, we're advisors. We're not, we can't go anywhere into the counseling aspect. Hello, that's
Right.
what mostly I do, you do, we all sit and do is like, no, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're doing this.
Right.
Yeah. And it's like, oh, this has got to get itself into a better position there, so, well, I don't think that you really should be, running 20 miles a day, doing 200 sit-ups. It's really not helping you get to your goals here.
Right.
You know,
Balance,
so
people. Yeah.
balance, life force idealism. What are you really doing? Oh,
Yeah.
so we're actually treating an eating disorder. Okay, well, let's go find out our file work for that one. David, do you have anything on eating disorders? Like, why are they doing this? Oh, okay. So, yeah, you famined around this age about 5 times in your life when you've been around.
Do you see? It's like, or
Yeah,
you leave that part out and then you see somebody for 15 sessions and they're just treating the running, and you're like,
right.
I feel like it's almost like you're,
Hmm.
trying to lick away at concrete. Like you're not going to make a dent.
Right.
And I don't want to ever put down the profession that I went into, but for me personally, I didn't feel confident having therapy clients without being able to say, hey, there is other energetic
Hmm.
experiences going on with you. Let's
Right.
talk about those. I do
Right.
love and do know that going through school, they did start to talk about tarot, Reiki,
Hmm.
holistic, past life. I mean, it's amazing to
Yeah.
to see the evolution and finally the embracing of us woo-woo humans in a I don't know, just a broader sense that the mental mind is important.
Right. And, you would think that that would be like foundational for psychology.
You would think.
Yeah.
But it's not.
No, it's
It's
not.
not.
It's a lot of
It's
Sigmund
not.
Freud got drunk at one night and wrote a bunch of crap. Believe me, I know.
Those are my favorite classes, by the way. I've never laughed so hard.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm sorry, who did he what? But,
Yeah. Yeah.
Good for him.
Good for him. But,
Good for him.
The man, he's already moved on to the other plane. Can we put his work to sleep?
Yeah.
And look at what's really going on?
Or at least talk about it honestly and the things that he was actually really interested in, because he had some quirky things.
He had some quirky things. He had some quirky ideas. Of course, if we look at all of them, we look at Edgar Casey's work or Sylvia Brown's work, or we certainly, bumping even farther back and looking at some of the medium testing that was going on in England in the early 1900s.
My favorite.
Some of that shit's freaking scoopy. And it's like, you done what? You asked her to give a reading with a mouthful of cotton stuffed.
Is that real?
Yeah.
Why?
They were doing the physical mediumship, so it's the production of ectoplasm.
Okay.
And trumpeting, which is the moving or causing sounds through a trumpet.
Okay.
And they thought that the medium was doing ventriloquism instead of physical mediumship. So they tied her to a chair.
It's not funny.
Stuffed her mouth with cotton, and the trumpet still worked. And it still gave messages. And she's sitting there like, what do you got next?
She's like, put me upside down, whatever you want me to.
Yeah.
I love stories like that, though.
Because that's where cabinet readings came from.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's where I question our history. Why we pay attention to only, well, we know why, but why only specific things carry on, and they conveniently, things in our realm of work are left off or eradicated,
I think that it's because it falls out of fashion.
Yeah.
I mean, if your client, you see clients virtually or you see them face to face still, if they showed up and there was this big black wooden cabinet and you're so sit down, your reading will start in a minute, they'd be like, where is she?
What is she doing?
Yeah, what is she doing?
What is she doing?
Yeah.
I always said, side note, in another life, if I had an extra day where everything I did didn't matter, that I would love to show up and just, throw confetti in the air and hand candy to people and just do whatever my spirit guides genuinely wanted me to do. Because they have some wacky ideas that usually work. Right. But I'm like, we live in the earthly realm. And if I did that to half the people that I saw, I'm pretty sure they'd go running for the hills and I'd have gnarly remarks on my Yelp pages. So let's keep it to what the humanity is aware of and can be okay with today, which is usually talking. Let's not freak them out. Let's not show them in their closets. Let's not pop up in mirrors like Auntie Sue. Don't do that to your cousins, know your boundaries. But I think, some of the wacky stuff though.
Well, I don't know, but if you work with guides or not, and for me, it's explaining to my guide a lot of times, no, we cannot say that.
Yes.
They don't care that in 5 years they won't give a damn what this man's name is.
Oh my gosh. I'd love that you have a good relationship with your guides. I mean, in your early...
I haven't... Well, and part of it is because, I've grown up with them,
Yeah.
Direct communication since age 3. So, for us, it's like an everyday thing of having, it's always a bantering mental conversation going on. And my guides don't do this sitting around in robes on clouds and okay, she'll channel to you now. It's like, shut up, stop whining, and let's go. We've got 20 clients today, or you've got a lot of
100%.
work to do. What the hell? It is 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Get your ass out of bed.
That is so funny you say that. Yeah, mine always say do better. I'm like, you do better. I don't
Yeah.
want to do better today. They're like, just do better. You can do better. And I used to get so irritated by it. Now I just throw it back. And I'm like, I
Right.
don't feel like it. I'm Netflixing today. You do better tomorrow. That's when we're meeting.
Yeah. Yeah. You can set the appointments yourself tomorrow. Yeah. And then what's real fun is I get clients, and normally students will come to me, but I've had clients come to me. So you want to talk to me? What? Yeah, you've been aggravating me for 3 days in my dreams. What's wrong? I go, have you cleaned your house yet?
I love it.
Yeah.
Feel a little more normal here today. Thanks for that.
For me, it's every day. It's life, honey, because I've told my guys, one, we are not getting into the Inquirer. Get over it. We're not having that today.
I love that your guys have life goals. They're like, we're aiming. We have a bucket list.
We've got a bucket list. We've got books to write. Now, come on, can we speed this up? And it's like, no, we've got other work to do. And there's no way that I'm like doing 15 other gazillion things out there.
That's so funny. I mean, that's kind of the life of a psychic channel or medium ever, where you are always working with spirit, and spirit is not a cloud floating. I have like 4 guides, and one is always diligent. I have one who's really pragmatic. I have one who takes nothing seriously. I have one who is always there reminding me of my to-do list. And I'm like, chill out. We have apps for that now. It's this whole evolution of guides, but we need each other. And so that's why we put up with one another.
Because it's a full team.
Yeah.
And I think that people don't get that idea, that it's actually a full team out there. That is, people get really stranged out or freaked out when it's like, I'll have my team work on that, and we'll get that article next week. And they're like,
I hope you put that in an email.
Yeah. There's you, there's, we know you have a virtual assistant. We know that you also work with your husband. How many people do you have behind you? And it's like, depending on the day, 6 to 10, So awesome. What has been your weirdest moment as a psychic and a starseed reader?
Oof, are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
During the week that I realized what starseeds were, because prior to that I was just like, I'm going nuts. I'm seeing my own little version of ET, right? I'm just kind of putting it all together, and they were really showing up. Like I started to take pictures, and they were showing up in my pictures, and I'm going, what is happening? My daughter and I we took our dogs for a walk, and it was like dusk. So we were walking home, and I was talking to my guides. I'm like, all right, I've done the weird things. You've shown up to me in different forms, and every time my gifts have evolved, I'm ready. Give it to me. And I look up, and there's this cat, like calico cat, sitting in the middle of the street. And my daughter and I look at each other, and I was like, isn't that a cute cat? She's like, Mom, its eyes are weird. And I was like, no, stop it. And I looked, and its eyes were green. And I was like, well, that's pretty. And then I heard, you're freaking out. I was like, I'm not freaking out. I'm chill. I'm fine. I'm good. Deep down, of course, I'm freaking out. And so I'm trying to keep my heart rate down. Hi, Yeti. And it turned into a person. And he looked like a Star Wars outfit with like a Obi-Wan, like the whole Obi-Wan outfit, right? And he was holding his hands in a triangle. And he had like a little thing in the center of his head. And of course I'm looking at her, and she's looking at me sideways. And she's like, Mom, be chill. You said you were going to be chill. So she's being better than I am. And they were like, we thought you'd be ready. We hope you embark on this new adventure. And then the whole thing just disappeared. And so I laugh at myself now because I was like, I am so ready. You can show me anything. And then when it happens, I was like, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. I
I'm
saw a
ready.
cat.
No.
I'm not ready.
Yep.
But she was good. She was like, that was cool, huh, Mom? I'm like, ugh, I need to be more like my children who are just, it's normal, Mom. How about you?
Yeah. Yeah. For me, I think the weirdest psychic moment for me has been this, I'll say something crazy, like, oh, one of these days I'm going to Canada and I want to do a few TV pilots. 6 months later, hi, we'd like you to come to Canada for a week. We'd like you to appear at this event, and then we'd like you to do this and this. And watching the experiences on the people in my life's faces when this stuff happens. So when I met my husband and co-host, it'll be on, once we wrap up our cup. First time meeting him, driving down the road, and I swear the car's gone flat. One of the tires has gone flat. Okay, get out, check the tire's fine. I do this for another year. Every time I get to the same point of the road, it feels and sounds like the front passenger side of the tire is flat.
Okay.
Like I've blown a tire. He
Every
rags
time.
me on it every time, because I'm making 2 trips a week. I'm going down and up, and every time we get to the same spot. So we do an event. We're driving back. I am hitting the same spot on the road. And I'm like, God damn it, this feeling's got to stop. Like we're going to get new tires, or something is wrong with this road. Whatever. He goes, nope, tire's flat. I can feel it bouncing over here. You know how it'll rumble when it goes down?
Yeah, it does the little, yeah.
Yeah, so I pull over, car is completely flat, the car is packed with all the event stuff, and I'm like, okay, this is why I pay for full coverage. Call the insurance company to get roadside assistance out. Literally, we make the call, and within like 3 minutes, flashing lights pull up behind us. We get out. I open the trunk. The guy takes everything out of the trunk, reaches down, gets my spare tire out, puts it on, puts all my stuff back in order. A little bit better packing than we had done because we're tired from the day. Changes my tire. Asks me if I need anything else. I'm like, no, do I need to sign anything? No. He hops into his truck, takes off. We get back in the car, and I get a text message. Your driver will be to you in 15 minutes.
Stop.
No. And I'm like, okay. Do you want to cancel that? Because we don't know who this is, but they've already changed the tire. Now I hop on that road, boom, boom, go on. Just perfectly fine. We haven't had that problem again. As soon as the tire went flat and magical roadside assistance fixed
Love
it.
that did you know you had the upgraded Spirit package? I mean,
no, not really.
Cool.
That would be nice. I mean, it would be great if they'd show up and do some other things, but no. But I always say I don't read for myself. I rarely get readings.
Yeah.
And when I do, it's very basic.
Me too.
But I couldn't read myself out of a paper bag. But when it hits, it's very far into the future.
Interesting. Why do you think you can't? Why do you think you don't read yourself? What is that for you? You just never have. You don't. It's not for you.
It's not for me. Yeah. And when I say it's not for me, it's not that I don't believe it. It's not that I don't question, like, well, everyone else gets to read for themselves. It's more so, no, your life is a life of service.
Yeah.
You can't be selfish 100%. Here and be pulling their lotto numbers for yourself or anyone else, because we don't also predict the lightning, but, it's not for you. It's not your skill for your personal investment or you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you ever get clients who say to you, though, my daughter's dog passed from cancer? And I had a client say to me, didn't you see that coming? I was like, oh my gosh. I don't read my own life. I really try to lead. Like, of course, I'll lean in things and be like intuitively, like which one should I pick? What color should I pick for my website? what
Yeah.
direction, little things, right?
Hmm.
But the main events that I'm supposed to experience, no, I don't get this pre-warning postcard in the mail that says, by the way, you're going to lose your dog. Like, obviously that was a whole family needed to experience moment. So,
Right.
okay. But have you ever had clients say to you, like, didn't you know that was going to happen?
Oh yeah. I had listeners say, "Didn't you see that happening?" And it's like, no, I don't get the memos. They go to spam because I get enough of all the rest of them. So, how do
Yeah.
you like to work, honey?
In what regard? With like clients
Client.
and
Yeah, like where do you like them to jump in at?
I coming from medium, most people range in the gamut of, yes, I've seen a million mediums and I've talked to my uncle a million times, to I've never done this before, I don't know what's going to happen, don't make anything float in this session. Okay. So I think I've learned in that process to meet people where they are. I don't,
Okay.
especially, I try to really keep an open mind about it. And at that time I wasn't doing any kind of coaching. I was just there to do a service. And
Hmm.
so that kind of gave me the foundation of just be really, really open to whatever journey people are on, wherever they're at in that journey.
Okay.
Um, and so I think I've carried that kind of mentality into my current
Right.
business.
Uh-huh.
But is that the same for you?
It is. It is. I
Okay.
like them. I have people and they'll go and they'll book an hour session and they'll have like two questions. And I'm like, what did you expect for the rest of the time here?
I get that too.
So I'm always like, book a 15-minute session. We can always extend if you need it,
Yeah.
you know, or if you have a specific thing, then book a specific or, specialty spread, whatever.
Yeah.
What about free? What's your on that side?
I don't know why, and maybe this is a boundary thing, but my sessions always end up running longer. People
Always.
people hear, experience, or feel something that they haven't felt before, and then they have a million questions about that. And then, of course,
Mhm.
I'm always happy to help. But like I think in my earlier days, I used to get so invested. And a close associate of mine, we were just talking about this today, mentioned that I used to not just walk people to the door and then show them the door. I used to walk through with people through the door. And
Mhm.
that can't be, I believe, an empath's process. You're going to
No.
attach yourself to too many things that aren't even your life path, your own energetic
Right.
experience. And so it's just, that's when you learn all the boundaries of learning to like protect your own light and drawing in your own energy and all of that stuff. And
Right.
so,
And work off universal energy and not your
yes.
own. Coming
Yes.
off of alpha wave once in a while to like, I don't know, watch a TV show. Those things is
Those
highly
things.
important.
Yeah.
If they don't teach you in any metaphysical class.
Thank you. So when you're by yourself and brand new, you're just like, I'm going to do this wonderfully. And I didn't even realize. I was like, oh my gosh, I was just planting my energy all over the place. No wonder I felt drained. And I could
Hmm.
still feel people's thoughts when they left. And oh my
Right.
gosh, what was I thinking?
Hmm.
You
And
know,
following up with 2-page emails to them about after our session, it appeared to me the following things. Here's the
I
information you need
did.
for that. Yeah, yeah. So book an initial session. You've got a very nice pathway for your customers.
Thanks.
I will compliment
Yeah.
initial sessions, returning client
Yeah.
sessions, and then continued healing bundles. So you pull those together. Do they want
Hmm.
to connect with loved ones? Energy therapy. With that, do you think it's better to get a bundle or do the initial setting first?
I always encourage people to do an initial session, kind of like your idea of 15 minutes. One, you realize if
Right.
you're an energetic match. Do we even mesh together? Can I even,
Mhm.
you know, does our energy really
Work.
match?
Hmm.
Yeah. And so
Yeah.
like I've learned, you as a conduit, a channeler, are only bringing your vibration to the table, and then it's up to the client to be open, receptive to whatever energy is being exchanged, right? So
Mhm.
oftentimes I'll get people and they'll be like, that was wonderful, and then I have people who are like, thank you so much, and then I never hear from them again. And that's
Right.
okay. We weren't meant to be. But for the most part, I really do feel like I've gotten to a space where I can attract the people that really do seek me out for my specific, maybe personality or whatever.
Right.
And it's still good because first sessions kind of uncover the greater questions, I think, right? It's like going to get a consultation, like a car checkup. Figure out what's going on first, and then return and do a return session in an area that you kind of know now, or bundle because you have something really big you want to delve into, change, alter, or kind of really dig deep with. Is that how you work as well? Do you encourage? Do you have like consistency?
I have consistency. I have some customers that I see every day. That's just because that's where they're at in their crisis mode. I just launched the coaching package of Taking Back Your Power, and that's a six bundle thing. We're developing a relationship one. If you notice, I'm more like this plane because that's where I work at. Whereas you're taking them up the stairs, and that's the enjoyment of having. That's why there's so many of us. Is this because we so specialize into every different thing? Yeah. All right, I think we'll go ahead and give them your website.
Oh, perfect. Well, anybody listening can find me at theascensioninstitute.com. I know it's a mouthful, but that's where you can find me. I also have social media pages at Emilia Medium or TikTok, which is Emilia Source Codes. But the easiest way to get a hold of me is the Ascension Institute. And if they want to book a package or any new client session, if they use the code Psychic Coffee, they can get 20% off their first session.
Awesome.
Just as a thank you for listening. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So are you working on anything else?
I have a lot of behind the scenes classes. Well, I have retreats coming up next year. It's all quiet and hush until probably December, but there will be retreats. I don't know if anybody's near Southern California. There will be something in the early spring there, San Diego specifically. And then hopefully an international one in June next year. And then we have group ascension classes that will probably be starting in February.
Awesome. So, guys. Yeah. So go hop over there, hop on the newsletter. It's not hard to do. Nope. If you're in California, do you do only virtual? Because I'm only virtual now. Do you do
I have an office. Virtual? I have an office in Carlsbad, but the majority of my clients enjoy virtual just because they're able to sit in the comfiness of their own home, and energy is read the same as So I would say 90% of my clients are virtual.
Very cool. So geolocation isn't a hindrance for you.
Nope.
Wonderful.
Nope.
Awesome. Well, when you get the retreats, come back and let's have a cup of coffee and talk about all that excitement going on there.
Yeah, okay? Let's laugh a little. It's been fun.
Awesome. It's been great talking with you, honey. I'll talk with you again later.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Hey everybody, Lady Gwendolyn here from Rowan Temple of Light, and I'm here to tell you about our events this summer. First up is Beltane in the Hills, May 13th, and that is from 1 to 6. We have entertainment, we have a bunch of vendors, we have a fairy photo shoot. It's going to be exciting. You having any questions, reach out to Earth Magic or to myself. After that, we have Central West Virginia Pagan Pride, August 19th. That's at Holly Gray Park from 11 to 5 for the day. And we will have Sarah Masters coming down from Pittsburgh to be our keynote speaker. We have some great classes for that. So if you want to get involved, reach out to Rowan Temple of Light at Gmail, or just follow us along on Facebook at Rowan Temple of Light, and we look forward to seeing you out in the community. See you there.
Welcome back, Goblins! My name is Jason, and I am the host of the Esoteric Book Club, a podcast that examines titles on the magical, paranormal, the mysterious, and the strange. I release 2 episodes a month, in which I review books on esoteric topics, recap news of the weird, and conduct interviews with authors, practitioners, and experiencers. The Esoteric Book Club can be found on every major podcast service or can be streamed directly from esotericbookclub.org.
Hi, I'm Aeson Knight. I provide tarot readings covering everything from love and relationships to your life questions and your most spiritual answers. And also, I provide a lot of guidance in finances and divorces and all those relationship problems. So, if you'd like to get a reading from me privately, not on air, you can feel free to do so by visiting aesonknight.com and booking your appointment. I also provide on-demand services, so if your life is a little chaotic, you can go ahead and click that Call Now button there on my site. It'll connect you to Keen, and if you've not been with Keen before, you'll get 3 free minutes to talk with me, so that's great for a quick answer question. All right, guys, back to the show. Enjoy. Bye, y'all.
Hi, I'm Tracy Van. I provide a blended reading consisting of mediumship, psychic, and tarot cards. A reading from me can cover any guidance you need from relationships with your partner or your family, spiritual, financial, any questions you may need clarity on. If you would like to book an appointment with me, check out my website, tracyvan.com. That's TracyVann.com. I have bookings from 15 to 60 minutes you may choose from. That helps if you just have a quick question, need an answer, or if you're looking for a reading in more depth, I'm here to provide the guidance and clarity for you. Let's just figure it out. Bye.
Hello, darling. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you this evening?
Doing well, doing well. It's been a great evening of conversation.
Yeah,
So,
your guests sounded amazing.
they have, well, it's Gail. She brings me fabulous ones. All right. So, with that, we're on to Are You an Asshole?
Yes, and I hope Emily is watching or will watch. I will definitely probably drop her a link to this if she's not showing up in the comments.
Okay.
But hey guys, so am I the asshole for locking up my romance novels so my husband can't throw them away? I love romance. To be clear, I don't enjoy self-inserts or wish fulfillment romance where I'm the target. I love reading about two individuals falling in love and the idea of eternal love. I read a lot of romance books. I also enjoy Josie manga, webtoons, comics, and short stories. My husband recently started having an issue with my romance items. He says they are in the way. I keep my books on one bookshelf. I have my own iPad, though I prefer physical books. I have my own library card and account. I do my half of the chores, pay my half of the bills, and do my part around the house. The romance books are not affecting his life in any way, but he hates them. He made a comment about throwing them out and having a fresh start. So I bought a small cabinet dresser with a lock on it from Amazon and locked up all of my novels. My husband tried opening the door of one and found out it was locked. Now he is upset and guilt-tripping me, saying that I don't trust him and that I care more about my romance novels than him. Am I the asshole?
No.
There's almost a chef's kiss to this one that's just like, mwah! Tell me you don't understand what you're doing without telling me you don't understand what you're doing.
Well, not only that, but, thank God he doesn't know how to pick locks, but it's the same size. One, throwing books away should be a criminal offense.
I mean, there is that.
Any books. Two, what's he care what you read? How is this affecting him? Is it because you're not giving him enough attention, or because he's just jealous that he can't pick you up and throw you over his shoulder and carry you off to, his castle? And I think that people get trapped in that ideaism of that everything is a comparison. Well, you don't do this. Well, you can't do this. Well, you don't do this. And it's like, nor do I want you to. You know, it's like Psychop. Joe can't read Psychop. It drives him batty when he reads Psychop. Me, I'm waiting for novel 14 to get out here. Let's go. Come on.
No. Actually, I think the Psychop series is great. My problem is it's not something I can fall asleep to.
No.
As in, it draws my interest, and I'm laying there like chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4, chapter 5. Jesus Christ, I have to go to bed. Will that stop?
Right.
Because you will start it and drift right off. Just like, boom. Like, you will sit and also listen to it while you're working. It doesn't put you to sleep then. But at night, virtually, murder and mayhem puts you to sleep at night.
Yes.
Like, you go to bed, the noise just kind of helps. But no, here's my whole thing. Books fill deficits in our lives. Deficits of knowledge, deficits of experience, deficits of ability, deficits of travel. But I think sometimes when we start talking about romance specifically, there's a cart before the horse moment that I think a lot of spouses of romance novel readers, they kind of have this they put it in the wrong order. As in, they think there's a deficit because their spouse is reading it. But there was a deficit which led to the reading. And that's not necessarily an insult. Like, some people have traumatic histories with relationships. It is nice to be able to sit and read about really cutesy, young adult fiction. Romance, for instance, which this kind of sounds like where this OP is kind of that, like, you're somewhere between like 18 and like 25. And you're dating and you're just not sure and you're looking for a husband and you're not finding the right person. That sort of seems like where they're at. That kind of awkward butterflied, the whole world is my oyster, budding romance. Sounds like roughly where they're at. That's not necessarily a bad thing for your spouse to be reading. Moreover, and my chef's kiss of like, God, tell me you don't know what you're talking about in terms of OP's husband is the funny part about romance novels is they usually increase or at least stabilize any kind of romance deficit in a relationship. Like, or they make it more tolerable for those who don't want to date. It makes it more tolerable for those and gives them an experience and an opportunity for those that are already in bad relationships to kind of replace some of that in their head. And it's more likely to put people in the mood, not take them out.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, if your spouse is reading romance novels, there's a higher likelihood that you can get laid out of this than if you throw the novels out. Now you have a problem that you need to solve.
Right.
And let's start talking about our relationship issues and all the things you need to do to fix them.
Right.
And sometimes those aren't fixable. Like, sometimes people just wish they were a millionaire or they met a millionaire and like love that exciting world travel fantasy life. there's nothing wrong with that. It's not an indictment of your spouse to have a fantasy. It's not.
Well, it's not an indictment of your spouse to have a fantasy. It's also not an indictment that you have to like everything your spouse likes.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Well, and you don't like, and even we've talked on the show your massive comprehensive list that led to us dating. I didn't exhaust it. There were some items left. You know, more to the point, like the novels you read or that you like that are technically sci-fi but with a romance component. Those are more so, I can't be a werewolf. Like I cannot be a mythological creature. Like I'm just not.
Yeah, you're not a werewolf. You do really good sometimes at acting like a werewolf, but you're not a werewolf. You're not a vampire. We have, I have a series that I love. Luckily, I know the author personally, and he does fabulous work.
Which, I mean, these are all great things. This is not a detriment to my relationship.
Right.
That is a creative outlet. That is a place for your brain to go and have fun.
Yes.
It does not negatively impact our relationship. Now, if you want me to like superhumanly throw you across a room and whatever, turn you into like I can't do those things. And if that were to become part of your expectation in our relationship, we would have a problem with the novels.
Right. Like I don't see you picking me up and carrying me, across the house. That's just not happening.
Yeah, but generally speaking, very, very, very few people start getting unrealistic expectations for their relationships based on what they read. It's exploratory. It's a place to go. It is a fantasy. I'm sorry, I read Brenda's comment.
Well, you read a lot of Brenda's comments. How about a little bit more detail for our listening audience?
Maybe she should start reading murder mysteries and serial killer books and leave them laying around.
Well, it does have its benefits.
But anyway, sorry, you were about to say.
I don't get how he says they're in the way. Is she piling them up on his side of the bed?
No, she's made it clear they take up one shelf. Now, whether she means one entire bookshelf or one shelf of a bookshelf is a little unclear. Based on the cabinet that she bought, what it sounds like, I think it's somewhere between the two. That it's a little more than a shelf, it's a little less than an entire bookshelf. But even at that, like that's not like, I'm sorry, you live in a home, you get space for your stuff.
Right. So let's move on to the next part of this, which is more pissing me off.
Okay.
You locked it away so you don't trust me. No, I don't trust that you won't destroy my items.
Yeah, you kind of violated that when you pitched your little temper tantrum. Like you showed yourself untrustworthy. Like when you don't want to let your spouse own something and you threaten to throw it out. I'm like, here's my general theory on this is if your spouse threatens to throw something away,
right,
and you don't do anything to secure it,
right,
and they throw it away, that's kind of on you.
Right.
At that point, like the intention was clear, I'm throwing this out.
Right.
No, don't throw it out. I want to keep it. And then I don't ever touch it again.
Right.
Argumentatively, like I didn't take any, effort to protect it,
Right.
then it kind of becomes you agreed in a sense, though I will
Right.
still argue this is a wrong way to go about things, but you did kind of end up agreeing in a sense
Mhm.
that you didn't care enough about it to prevent that from happening.
Right.
Now, on the flip side, it is very, very, very reasonable that if you're threatening to throw out
Mhm.
someone's stuff, that they find a way to prevent that.
Right.
Like, that's reasonable. Like, and that goes for anything. If we're talking about, you know, high school T-shirts that, you know, your spouse just, you know, God, it's so holy and torn up, and just throw it away. You know,
Right.
if you don't like donate that or whatever, I'm gonna throw it out. Okay,
Right.
buy a Foot Locker, put it in there, and your spouse can hush on that topic.
Mhm.
Like, I put it away. It's out of your, you know, view. You don't ever have to see it again. But it's
Right.
mine, and I choose to keep it.
Right.
And I think that's reasonable. More to the point, however, I don't think you really do anything good in relationships when you force that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, your spouse is allowed to have things, and you don't have
Right.
to appreciate them, like them. You know, you really don't even have to tolerate them.
Right.
But you do have to accept that they are your spouse's possessions.
Right.
You don't get to make that choice.
Right.
And we do have kind of this broken idea, I think,
Right.
that, you know, it's appropriate for spouses to throw things out
Mhm.
that their spouse owns.
Right.
You know, like, no. I understand sometimes it's cumbersome, it gets in the way. Like, my God, how much hockey equipment could one person possibly have? You know, and you
Right.
don't even play hockey. You haven't played hockey in 20 years. So
Right.
why do you have all that crap?
Right.
And it's in the way. Trying to turn this into a different, you know, text. It doesn't matter. It's not
Right.
yours. I understand it's in your way. I think you have every right to ask that it be put up in a way that is not in your way.
Right.
I think you have every right to box it up and put it in an attic. I think you have every right to, you know, do that, but you don't get the right to throw it out.
Right.
Like, that's where the line is. It's like, nope, that's a possession. You don't have to appreciate it, like it, or even tolerate it.
Mhm.
But you can't throw it out.
Right. You know, and it doesn't sound like, and I think the main problem here about that is they went from a 2-bedroom apartment to a studio apartment, and he sees the bookshelf as being a space taker. When I'm like, bookshelves are used in studio spaces to create walls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it goes beyond that. I think it's just an easy target.
Mm-hmm.
In a sense, is like he already didn't appreciate those. This is just the excuse.
Exactly.
Like, that you don't need all this. You don't need it. And it's like, I'll be the judge of what I need.
Exactly. All right, so the poll is up over on Aeson Knight's YouTube. You get to vote if he's an asshole or not. So moving on to relationship advice. This one's a fun one.
All right, me, 20 male, and my now ex, 20 female, just recently broke up due to religious reasons. Would it be worth it to become religious to save the relationship? So on Halloween, me and my ex broke up, but due to us both thinking ahead, knowing what we both wanted in the future, she wanted a husband that would go with her and the kids to church on Sundays, and I am not religious at all. Not for any particular reason, I just don't practice a religion. We were together for 2.5 years, and we had very little problems the whole time, and even up until the day we broke up, we're definitely very happy. When we did break up, it happened fast, but almost unnaturally. And looking back on it now, I wish we had just taken a break, although I'm not sure how much that would have done. Anyway, I've recently been thinking, would it be that bad? to just go to church once a week and spend time practicing her religion. It wouldn't be much of a commitment, as the way it seems, nothing would change aside from going to church once a week. Most other aspects of my life now and then would stay the same. I have tried to think about the open possibilities now that I'm single, but I can't seem to think of being in a dedicated relationship with anyone other than her. I know that I am still young and the possibilities are endless, and that there are many other women in the world, but there was absolutely nothing wrong with the relationship aside from the fact that we both wanted separate things dealing with religion, but that was it. So would it be worth it to compromise completely on my end and become religious to save what could potentially be my life? I know there is no guarantee that we would get back together, but I know that she hasn't talked to anyone and wouldn't get into a relationship that soon after we broke up. So the odds of getting back together, if I were to change for her, would be higher than lower. I don't mean for that to be manipulative either, because if I were to do this, it would be a full commitment. I'm not really good with expressing how I feel in words either, but I want to stress the fact that we were both very happy with the relationship and were able to get through any argument we had, and all aspects of our relationship were very healthy, which makes me considering changing for her actually seem like a viable option for me, because it seems like a very small change in comparison to gaining such a wonderful woman back in my life.
Now,
This is the very non-religious take on, like, the level of non-religion required to have this take on joining a religion.
mm-hmm.
I mean, bless his heart. Because on one hand, you're not wrong. On the other, you are so wrong as to what you're doing. Please don't.
Right.
Please don't. Because it does seem kind of simple. Go to church once a week, sit in a pew, act like you care. You know, read the scriptures, do the thing, participate in the events. It's not that bad. How bad could it be? And therein lies the rub. That's just the beginning.
Right.
Because the reality is you're most likely never going to believe this.
Right.
So it's not just that you go and do the thing and show up and be there. You're attempting to profess belief in a thing that you don't believe in, which is extremely hard. Right. Even if it is very, light Christianity, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
Your Methodists really aren't hard to please. They don't typically.
Aren't they also sprinklers too? So, but no, my problem with this overall is you're going to grow resentment. You're going to grow aggravation. You're going to grow very much a, why am I doing this? The sex can't be this good. It's freaking 8 o'clock in the morning and she's wanting to drag me into a building to listen to someone that doesn't have any of my shared ideas.
Right.
Why is this happening? And you're not being your true self. A lot of people do not, agree to this idea, but when a relationship is two different religions, even if one of those religions is not religion,
mm-hmm.
you have to make a compromise. Which
is usually we can agree to disagree, and what does that look like?
Exactly.
Like, you have because that's literally our household. You have a set of religious beliefs.
Right.
I have non-belief.
Mm-hmm.
I can be and we have to agree to disagree on that.
Mm-hmm.
And we do that by being mutually respectful of each other's belief set.
Right.
And I don't attack your beliefs. You don't attack mine. But we are open to the existence of them.
Right.
Like, I willingly will go to religious events and ceremonies and rituals and like however you want to word it. I will willingly go. I will even willingly participate.
Mhm.
But I'm not required in those settings to profess a false belief.
Right.
Because that's very, very different. Like,
Right.
you can go and you can participate, but what you're actually looking to do, what OP's actually looking to do in this situation, is you're looking to falsely profess belief. That's a whole order of magnitude harder.
Well, it's not only a whole order of magnitude harder, it's manipulation.
Hmm?
And, that makes me worried also for, OP's ex. If you're going to manipulate on this, what else are you going to manipulate on? What else are you going to try to use to your direction?
I don't know that she was trying to manipulate. I think she just finally went, this can't ever work.
No, honey, I'm talking about him.
Oh, yeah.
Like, fine, I'll go to church. Why don't we join this shiny, happy people church here where I'm the leader of the household?
There is that. But I think there's a bigger looming issue as you're looking at having children, and that's the whole impetus to this false profession of belief, is to maintain the relationship because she wants to raise kids with you, but in a church setting. Okay, so now not only have you professed a false belief, you now have to effectively indoctrinate your children or fight with your spouse over the fact that that's indoctrinating children.
Right.
Because that's typically another hard point with Christianity specifically, as well as just a couple other religions, is that get them while they're young is a really big part of their system.
Right.
Is before they can think their way out of a box, cram some God and Jesus in there, and then tell them not to think about it too hard. Sadly, is the experience a lot of people have.
Right.
When they grow up in the church, is that before they're able to actually make a decision, they're called and bullied practically into making a profession of belief, and committing themselves to the church and getting baptized and all the things, before they've had a chance to actually take in what they've been told and understand it. And then, God forbid, they ask questions about it, because that's generally frowned upon.
Well, it's always frowned upon because, normally the pastor doesn't know the answer. Look, I'll point blank say it. I've had theological debates with pastors. They get really scared when I start bringing up certain books of the Bible. And there's a few that they go, oh, that ain't in the Bible. And I go, well, which copy of the Bible are you reading? Well, here, honey, here's the unabridged version.
Yeah.
Okay,
well,
not the
here's
King
my
James.
problem. There are a number of people, and probably people you wouldn't guess, that are non-thinking, non-believers that show up on pews every single Sunday. Don't rock the boat. Don't ask questions. Don't argue. And pastors don't have a problem with that.
No.
Don't create a problem for me. You just sit there and take it.
And make sure to put your 20 in the collection plate. Well, inflation now. Put your 20 in the collection. Your 40 your 240s in the collection plate.
Whatever. However much money you put in. Put your money in the collection plate and show up next week. And then go home and allow this to take over your family.
Mm-hmm.
in your relationship, as well as the time commitment on Sunday,
Mm-hmm.
you now have to listen to this at home.
Right.
Because it's going to tendril into your home.
Yeah.
Like, no, in many instances, and especially when you have one devout person in a relationship and one non-believer, yeah, this is going to be part of your home too. And you've made a false profession of belief.
All right.
Like, this isn't because I'm sorry, like, you can't even swing a cat in this house without hitting something wicked. Like, can we agree on that? It's hard to swing a cat in this house without hitting something wicked.
Well, I'm trying to think because there's multiple rooms in this house. Now, if I've got all church cloths started, yeah, okay, I'll give you that one.
Yeah. So we can pretty confidently state it is tendrilled throughout this house.
Right.
But that's coupled with we have a mutual respect and understanding.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't have to look at these items from a perspective of false profession of belief in them.
Right.
I can respect them because they are important to you and are important to your religious belief.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not beholden to them.
Right.
I'm not supposed to necessarily honor them and etc. Like I don't. They're not. I respect them.
We joke about you taking Buddha for a walk, for a drive.
We joke about it all the time. It's like that, and that's the other part of it. That is the joy of real compromise on religious difference. Is we joke about it all the time. Like, and there's back and forths.
Yeah.
But when it has to be something that you not just have to pretend on Sundays,
mm-hmm.
but you have to pretend through every day, because eventually there will most likely be children in this household, and you can't just be a Sunday Christian and the rest of that time be like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Because you've made a profession of false belief.
Right.
You have
and
to,
the other side of it is, I'm a little worried that your girlfriend is willing to do pussy conversion. Like, totally worried about that factor, about what else is she going to use that for?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I don't even know that's exactly where that's at. I mean, I see what you're saying is it kind of, I think maybe he's looking at it as being more innocent than it is.
Right.
And there's that potential. I think we can all agree there's a strong potential there.
Mm-hmm.
But even if it isn't, it's like, I don't see this going well long term.
No.
That fundamentally you didn't compromise over your beliefs. You compromised your belief. Those are two very different sentences that sound very, very similar.
Yeah.
When you compromise on beliefs, you can agree to disagree and have totally independent beliefs, and you can talk about them and discuss them and be respectful. Mm-hmm. When you compromise your beliefs,
mm-hmm.
then you have given up your own and you have assumed someone else's, and that is what controls this relationship. Right. Those are two very different things.
Right. And, they widow and they will foreshadow. They will widow away.
Whittle.
It'll take a. There you go. Thank you.
It will whittle away.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Right.
And the resentment builds, and then the negativity builds, and then one day you look and you're like, nah. And then what? Your relationship's over because you decided you're not going to church anymore because you're tired of it. You're not going to say and pray. before your meal because you're freaking hungry and you're tired of waiting around. So, through their 2.5 hours of prayer over their food as it gets cold.
Or so it would feel when you're hungry. I think the words that keep trying to scream their way into my brain, and it's finally here, come from Eleanor Roosevelt, or at least that's who the quote's often attributed to, is no one can make you feel inferior without your consent. In this instance, you will be consenting to having your beliefs made inferior.
Yep.
That's not good. Like there's no good place to go from that.
Right.
I think you got close, very, very, very close to everything you want in a spouse.
Mm-hmm.
Minus one very big important thing.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry that at 20 you got this close to be let down.
Right. But, he's giving some factors to accounting that, we never fight. Of course not, because her religion teaches her that, you are supposed to be the head of the household. So, exactly how are you supposed to, when she's going, well, if he's going to be my husband, I need to take his lead. These are the inflections that we see so much in religious dogma that no one fully pays attention to and goes, hold it, just where is this at? Just why is this here?
I mean, and again, sometimes your traction on that may vary by denomination, but you bring up a very valid point that if her particular religious belief does have a lot of subservience, then no, you're not going to fight about anything.
No.
Because if she's constantly deferring to her future husband, then no, you're not going to fight.
Yeah.
This was just the one thing that's like, nope, I can't not do this.
Right.
I'm required by my faith, my religious belief, to have this. If you can't provide that, then I have to find someone else.
Right.
So, yeah. I think it's always important to talk about beliefs and to give them their due respect.
Right.
In relationships.
Right.
Because it's not a small thing.
Right.
It's all righty.
All righty. All right. So with that, let's go check out the poll. No. Once again, you are not the asshole for locking away items that your spouse said they'd throw away.
Yes. Hey, I think that's a good one. I think that touches on a lot of different concepts.
It does. It
could almost have been the relationship advice. Don't throw away your spouse's shit. Don't threaten to throw away your spouse's shit. Don't get mad because your spouse owns things that you don't understand.
Right.
So, yeah.
All right. So with that, just a reminder that this weekend is Psychic Saturday. You can go ahead and book your appointments now. And that's where I go on discount. I am going to be on network later. Take it away.
All right. So, of course, we want to thank Beverly Walker, Mika G, Kathy, Mary Winfield, Brenda, Shannon C, Shannon D, Lady Gwendolyn, Charles Shaw, Tracy Van, Caitlin Bell, and Devin. If you'd like to learn more about us, the show, or how you too can become a Patreon sponsor and receive all the wonderful benefits our baristas receive, please visit us at pcspnetwork.com.
Exactly. And guys, we will not be on Coffee and Tea on Thursday as the U.S. is taking Thanksgiving. Natalie will be joining me next Thursday. So we will see you on Friday for Mountain Bears. Until then, good night, y'all.
Gobble, gobble till you wobble, wobble. Bye.
Where did my...
Do we lose the beautiful bean footage? Are we in the wrong brand?